Boy.
Mhm.
Oh, snap. They didn't know.
Yeah,
They didn't know it was coming.
right.
Right?
New year,
New year, new SY.
excitement,
All
new
right.
excitement.
Right. All right. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Another episode of the things I wish I knew about money. First of all, let's say Happy New Year. You
Happy New
know?
Year. That's
And oh,
some of the
hold
harm
on.
on that.
Who do you hear? Oh, shit. For anyone that's listening, oh, MG, Andre is back. So I'm your host, Kamille Smith.
And I'm your co-host, your boy Dre. What a go
What?
on. We've got create some excitement for start the new year. And we have some sorrel, so we'll kick it off the Jamaican way. So
Right?
cheers to the new year with
Cheers.
some Jamaican sorrel. Mm.
Mm.
Kamille made the good stuff. Sorry, bad still. I'm gonna send
And
in the
bad
order
in a
them go
good
to
way.
I'm gonna send
In
in
a
the order
good
them go to
way.
Kamille. For all the people who want them
Ah!
sorry.
Next year. But yeah, I'm so excited because I thought, you know, it's a new year. Holy, it's literally January 1st. And
Crazy.
we accomplished a lot last
Mm.
year. You know, there's good days, bad days, but I thought, yo, Andre had a really great year. So it's only right that, you know, bring on
Yeah.
what's your new name?
The money literacy boss.
What?
That's the name that them give me, the money literacy boss. So I'm just a roll with it, you know. I
So I
mean,
was
I
like,
wouldn't
oh,
necessarily class it has the year had its ups and downs. Was a pretty challenging year, but you know, overall
yeah.
good. But and I'm just like super excited about this year. There's just like so many things that like we're gonna be embarking on, and I'm just like looking forward to that.
Done.
So
Done. So I'm
yeah, I feel like
glad.
it's a. Mhm.
I'm glad you're here to share it and stuff because what I know a lot of people have been showing their recap of 2021. I will not be doing a recap. But I mean, who am I to like not, I like to see others accomplishments and all that good stuff. So I support it, of course. Especially yours. Like you went from, having, I'm gonna say 3 or 4 streams of income to then all of a sudden having all 7. I'm like,
it takes time, and then like for this year, like my primary focus is gonna be around structuring.
yeah,
And like I think once you get to like I'm not even close to where I want to be, but at the same time I'm on that trajectory. And so when I say structuring, I have to think about like asset protection, like how I'm going to do that, right, to figure that out. And I also have to think about asset transferal, right? So two exciting things, and just a side note, but two exciting projects that I have scheduled for this year is to register 2 new companies. One, of
nice.
course, is in my homeland, so super excited about that one. Right,
Voila.
finally going back home.
What? Hold on. You dang well know.
Yeah, so that's coming soon. I'm looking forward to that because
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not against investment and that kind of stuff, but um, I just always wonder why is it that people who don't look like me going back home to my country and invest, and I want to be a front runner in that and to change that, right? To
Mhm.
encourage my fellow Jamaicans abroad to like go back and invest back home. Anyways, that's a separate topic.
But
And then
that's
the
a
other,
big one.
it's a big one. Yeah, it's a big one, but it's a necessary one. It's important, you
Absolutely.
know. And then gonna looking forward to incorporate my holding company here. So them two projects for the new year
Right?
that I'm excited about.
Boy. Um, let's see. The biggest thing I'm excited for is continuing to learn futures
Yeah.
and option trading. Like last week we were talking about, like Kurt and I were talking about success rate, and
Mm,
actually so originally I was only doing the S&P 500, right? And then I was noticing that the NASDAQ futures was like doing the same thing. So I was like, hold on, let me try to do both of these. Yeah.
mm,
So I think I started doing the NASDAQ for a week. I'll say a
right.
week. And it was just boosting up. And I was like, yo, this is just like a booster. Like it's crazy. So I
Nice.
actually have an 88.89% success rate. I guess
Oh
I'm doing this.
wow. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah,
I
because so the alarm from that. That's
what
amazing. And I remember you ended the year with like some gains as well.
sorry,
And
sorry.
you ended the year with some gains as well, from what I
I
recall.
did, yes. This week I got slapped up, but overall, no, I so you see the
Nice.
title, y'all? Best believe.
I mean, 88% is pretty good success rate, especially
Yes.
if that 88% translates into gain, right?
Mm,
A gain is a gain at the end of the day,
yes,
right?
a win
So
is a win.
that's really
That's what I
good.
always say. But I do have to, I did get a little greedy with options. So I have to like retrace my steps and have more logical plays
Yeah.
than just like, oh, I know this is a good play. Let me just go in. Or when I when the profit's there, just take profit because a win is a win when you have profit, right? But
Yep.
I like to be greedy.
100%. Yeah, I mean it happens. Let me just grab my charger here. It happens, but
Yeah.
I had and I think for me and one of the themes that I came up with
Hmm.
last last year. Oh my God, it's so weird saying last year.
Right?
I want to say yesterday. One of the things that come up
You
with
can
yesterday.
still say it.
But I was listening to Kevin O'Leary, and he's pretty dope. But
Mhm.
one of the things that I like about what he said was when he talked about pivoting, and
Yes.
I mean I've had to pivot a lot of times throughout my life, but just hearing a different perspective and how he summed it up, just concretize, like
Yeah.
your view on certain things. And I mean, I remember when I started, my investment strategy was a lot short-term focus,
Yeah.
and that has changed. You can attest to that. That has changed drastically. I'm taking more of a long-term
Hmm.
approach, and I'm not hitting anything. And it's not because I lost anything. It's because I've just been factoring it in that opportunity cost in a lot of my decision. And
Exactly.
nothing is wrong with either approach, short term or long term. Anyone works for you, work for you. I've just for me just been focusing more on that long term. And then two, like, I've just been like looking at the market. And I'm trying, it's not that I'm timing the market, but it's like, where is the money is going, where the money is going. And as you
Yeah.
see, there's a lot of money going into cryptocurrency, for example. I personally haven't gone there, but there's a lot of money going there, right? So do you tap into those markets?
Yeah.
What do you do? Like your investment strategy, especially if you're active manager, that's where the difference comes in. If you're a more of a passive person, meaning that you put the money in or you let somebody manage it and you don't think about it, then you're not going to be changing your strategy so often. But if you're an active manager, you're probably going to be keeping up with a lot and making, real-time decisions, or as close to real-time as possible, right?
Exactly. And I think, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because a lot of people, like what I've been getting since last year.
I'm sorry. Hey, sorry, but no, sorry, it's pretty good.
Big up my mom, she taught me.
So she have the secret recipe. Big up, mom.
Yeah, man, I had to mimic it as much as I could, right?
Maybe I have to go be the plankton, come try to steal the recipe there.
But what, like a lot of people, they want to be active in investing and stuff, but and I'm going to say trading, because they want that quick money, short-term thing, right? And they're not realizing that you actually gain more with long-term gains, because like two of my best stocks, I'm holding it, and legit, I have like a lot. The gain is tremendous. And I just know that I'm just going to hold it for the long run instead of like short plays. But I do have short-term goals that is going to allocate into my long-term. So as much as people want to get like the cryptocurrency, which is fine, as long as you're holding it for a long time, and you want to be active in stock market, you kind of have to learn how to do it and the right steps. Like constantly, a lot of people have been like, Kamille, I just don't know where to start. And I'm like, fam, I literally, and I'm going to say fam, I literally post the S&P 500 all the time. Even if you don't understand a lot of things, just start with that, or just Google.
Yeah. No,
like,
100%.
There's just so many that you can learn. But there also are people that are overwhelmed. So like, I'm trying to like show them like the steps that I take, like how I learned and stuff, and just try to like, teach them gradually. But it takes time, and it also, you have to be in it. You don't have to be in it every day like I am, because I know you see my status and you're like, oh shit, look at this.
Yeah.
But you can look at it monthly if you want.
Right.
Like dollar cost average. That's the way of the game.
Yeah, no, definitely. And one of the things that I actually realized with a lot of people, and a lot of people actually know how to buy and invest, but don't know how to make investment decision. And it's something that I see with a lot of people that talk to me. And I had to say this to somebody recently, that yes, you know how to buy and sell a stock, you know how to go in the platform and execute it, but do you actually know how to assess a company to see whether or not it makes good sense to decide to invest in that company? And that is the same with any market, right? And like if you actually go to a seasoned investor and you'll ask them, oh, should I invest in cryptocurrency or whatever, or any type of investment, and or if you ask the question whether or not it's a bad investment or a good investment, they're going to say, go back to investment principles, make your determination, right? Go back to fundamentals, etc., to see if it's a good decision, right? Timing is key with every decision, right? Good decision, bad decision, whatever. Timing is really important. And when I say timing, I'm not talking about anticipating market like movements like that. Like, right? Yeah, right. That's not the timing that I'm talking about, because you can't track the market like that. But you have to have a sense of where the money is going and what's happening in the market, right? So, for example, real estate, generally speaking, in a lot of economies is going up, right? What is happening? What is causing the shift? And you actually, a lot of things I learned, I didn't actually sit down and synthesize and come up with it by myself, but I listened, especially to the people, the bigger dollars. And one of the things that I didn't even realize coming from the pandemic is that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, that demand for example, commercial real estate is
Yeah.
shifting to residential. Why? Because
Mm.
more people are working from home. A lot of
Yes.
companies are moving more to permanent work from home model, which means
True.
that they don't have that great demand for office buildings anymore and more of a greater demand for residential. So what does that mean for you as an investor? Well, if you have some money sitting down somewhere, perhaps it's a good time to get into real estate and residential, right? So
Yeah.
that type of timing is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about chasing the bag. Chasing the bag is a whole different thing. That's not timing. That's not the investment timing that I'm talking about.
Oh,
But
jeez.
here's why, Kamille, I love long-term investing, especially in real estate. And I mean, I love investing in stock too. Both of them are great. I'm not
Yeah.
saying to choose one or the other. I mean, a balanced and diversified portfolio is pretty good. But here's why I love long-term investing, just like you said, the compounding effect, right? Is that over time that it continues to grow and it compounds. And here's why I love real estate as well, is that it gives you two types of earnings,
Mm.
right, in one go, and especially where capital gain is concerned. Yeah, your property go up in value, and your wealth continues to go up, and also you can Airbnb the property. That is something that I do. And one of my property Airbnb, for example, it brings in
Yeah.
about like 2,500 to 3,000 US per month. That's pretty good income
US?
system. Yeah, US, right? So again,
Nice.
how can you multiply that across wherever,
Yeah.
right? And it comes back to one thing that I've assessed when I came up with that Smith's wealth creation formula. That leverage is an important part.
Yes.
Here's the two most important things to leverage, and we're going to go into a whole different topic now. But two most important part to leverage is that you don't want to stretch yourself too thin or become too levered, right? So you have to be careful of that.
True.
Cash flow remains, well, maybe king and queen, me understand now, because of 2022. So cash flow remains king and queen, right? Really important to the
Yeah.
success, because stuff gonna come up, right? And you have to be ready to have money to finance that. Capital assets such as real estate is expensive, and I know a lot of people may not have the money to, for example, come up with a down payment, especially in a market like Canada. But
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean for you as the investor? Does that mean that it ends there? Remember, time is money, and you have to look into other markets, right? What about the Caribbean? Can I buy something that costs way less? Can my current reality qualifies me for something else somewhere where I can Airbnb and generate 3,000 US dollars per month, for example, off a property? What if you have
Yeah.
10 of those, right? That's 30,000. Here's the other thing.
Mm.
Jamaicans we love the game called Monopoly. But Jamaicans come up with their own name, them call it Monopoly because them say they're not play with no man. What's there already? But here's the thing. If you actually think about that game in the principle of real estate, it actually makes perfect sense, because what happens if you know how to play a card right? When
Yeah.
you buy one property, it becomes the portion in that property that is paid off becomes your asset.
Exactly.
That is looked at favorable when you're ready to go and borrow again. Or you can borrow against that, right? So it's a secured debt. So you can take a secured debt against what's in the property, take out another loan, and buy another property using that loan. Here's the other sweet side to it. You might get sweet tooth by the time I don't talk. Is that the income generated from your property? I mean, different institutions use different time frames, but the income that's generated from your property gets added to your income if you haven't incorporated it. And that is looked at as your holistic income. So let's say last year when the bank assessed you, your income was, let's say, $80,000, but then this year you've generated 40,000 US for the year. Now you have $120,000 in income now, which means that you can qualify for more, plus you can borrow against the asset. So again, it's like you're building and building, and it gives it a more asset and income you have, the more access it gives you. So as you're building that portfolio, it's giving you access. This is me breaking it down for you, how it works, because a lot of people don't know how it works. So in this podcast, we're simplifying the process, right, to show you how it works. And it is doable. I've always been afraid of it. But like, like I shared in my status today, that, a lot of people during the pandemic, they wanted a break, and rightfully so. There was so much that was going on, but I was busy studying the market, and I was studying the life out of the market, right, to see what's going on, right, and made some really good acquisitions that paid off big, right?
And you said a lot, because I know someone's gonna be like, "Wow, what's going on?"
Right, it's not
but like, you do get two types of income, and if you also study wisely to how to get that income, then you're able to, manage it. Because obviously there's some people that have limited capital, right? But if you're like, I believe even when you had your flip me Fridays or flip it Fridays, there was a strategy. Hey, Nathan.
This guy coming on
I knew I saw the door open. There's ways to form it with others. So if you don't have enough capital, you have to find like-minded folks that are able to combine with you, so you'd be able to do it. But you can only go with people that are serious.
100%, yeah.
Right. And I know there's gonna be some people who are like, yo, I'm ready, but you also have to change your mindset on how you function with finances. So I mean, if Dre is like a gambler and he's like, yo, Kamille, I have this good idea, let's do real estate, and I know you're a gambler, I'm like,
right, exactly, that's important.
That's really important. There are resources and all to be able to figure out how to get capital. And if you can't afford real estate because it is expensive, try REITs or even investing or a business. And those are different avenues that you can take until you're able to build up to be able to get a down payment. Because that's my game plan. I'm like, yo, the way I'm able to, once I'm able to master this and get enough capital, the next step is real estate, because we all know the factors of becoming millionaires, Black millionaires. And what else? The income. Do you want to explain it one more time, just for the folks that probably, it kind of went over their head? I know Nathan's making a little bit noise, but it's cool. They can listen. Nathan wants to talk too. And all that good stuff. Oh, we have a technical. Okay, it's cool. So before Andre even talks about it again, oh, he's back.
It's me. Oh, it's me. Yeah. So no, I think just to touch on your point, so I'm gonna go back into what you asked for, but touch on your point. You raise a good point about pooling together resources, because that is something that I'm planning to do as well. But just like you said, it's with very, very, very small amount of people, because the good thing about pooling together resources is that, one, it requires way less capital outlay for you, meaning you have to come up with less money out of your pocket to go toward the cost to finance the property. But the other part of that as well is that it reduces your risk, right? So whereas you had to take 20,000, for example, to put it in, or 40,000, by splitting that cost with a few people, it means less capital up front, which is less risk. The downside, though, to buy with somebody's there might be issues with the people, their personality, etc. And of course, those can be litigated, right? So you have a good lawyer that puts together a good contract. But the other side is that you would have to split the rewards from the property, right? So the income coming in as well as the the capital appreciation. So I think those are the bigger downside. But that's you know, at the end of the day, you want to get your feet in. Yeah, you want to get into the market. I think getting in is really important.
Yes, and then you also learn more about things, because we don't really learn until we like dive into it. And I think that's like a little of investing that happened. Like I had to just, you know, take risk just to be able to
100%.
understand.
100%.
Sometimes the risk hurts.
But it's worth it in the end, you know, like funny enough, and I soon touch on your point, but I was watching Lion King recently and I didn't realize this scene. It like, you know, when you look up at me, things just go over your head. Or maybe they, but what's that monkey called with the stick? What's him again? You know me I talk though.
I do.
Yeah. So in one of the scene when him knocks Simba in the head with the stick.
Yeah.
Because Simba was afraid to go back to like take up his position as the king of the jungle.
Yeah.
Because Simba was afraid and he thought the experience would be too painful. And the monkey slapped him in the head with a stick.
Yeah.
And Simba was like, "Ow, why did you do that?" And he's like, the monkey's like, "Did you feel the pain?" And he's like, "Yeah, I feel the pain." Then the monkey strike off him again and Simba duck. And he said, "Well, that's the power of experience. The next time you duck, you know how to prevent the pain." Exactly. And then after that, I bet did you notice that scene?
I did. You know what? I did watch it again. As you're saying, I'm like, yo, that's true. The experience is like actually
experience prepares you.
Because and you know what?
That scene went over my head. The meaning behind it.
I get cheese. Yeah, I'm actually mad because you know when you experience something and you know it's gonna happen, but like that fear, just like Simba, that fear that he had, he's like, should I? But like you know it, you understand it, you have the knowledge. Just don't doubt yourself. Just go and take your jungle back. You know.
Go take a jungle, exactly. And that's the thing, that the meaning, like I saw it, but the meaning behind it went over my head. And so like watching it again recently, just, you know. But anyways, so regarding, all right, so let's say like the income situation. So all right, you know, I'm making 70,000, let's say US for simplicity. I'm making 70,000 US per year. When I go to buy a property, you know, the bank says, okay, you can afford, let's say a 200,000 property, right? Or 270,000 property. And let's say you bought the property for $200,000 and you took that property and, you know, you start Airbnb that property. And then what happens? You go back to the bank the next time, right? The bank will take the income from that property and add it to your income, right? Because that's 70. And let's say you made 40,000. So that's 70 plus 40, that's 110. So now you're in a higher income situation, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So now the bank looks at that. They are okay, you come for a second property. There are a couple ways you can go about it. To you know, so you get that pre-approval or whatever the case is. You can take a secured line of credit if you want to come up with a down payment. So the strategies are there. So let's say you don't have the cash available, but you can borrow a secure loan against the property in the form of a line of credit or a home equity line of credit. Some will call it exactly leverage. You take that equity and there you go. You're able to finance the next purchase, right? And again, you have a more favorable income and you just keep doing that until you grow. What some people do along the line, if you actually want to generate cash flow, is that some people will probably like flip or go into some pre-construction or whatever. That property goes up, then they sell it at whatever, and that gives them a decent or sizable cash flow to work with. So there are many ways that you can go about it, or you can just build up your cash flow naturally, whatever works for you. Just like we said earlier, I think the biggest part is getting in. But here's what I thought was scary. Owning Airbnb internationally, I thought was scary. And just like with the example I used with Simba, is like when you test it out, I'm not gonna say stuff don't come up, stuff come up. But what I would say is start, perhaps if you're going international, in an environment where you're comfortable with first, to gain that experience of how things work and build your own system so that when you start going other places, you already have a system that works, because that's what I did. Exactly, makes it easier. But I'll tell you some of the technology that I have that makes things easy. like if, Airbnb, for example, they take care of all your payments. So there's
Yes.
nothing really to worry about. I think the only part of the experience that you need people for is like to do your, the cleaning and the laundry, etc. And if there is something broken in the apartment, you have a good electrician. I was lucky. Yo, I go buy a stove, and the stove never worked. Brought in an electrician to connect the stove.
Yeah.
Electrician never did the stove right. I thought the stove wasn't working. The guy wanted to cut the cable. Good thing I didn't do that. I said, no, why the hell am I gonna buy a brand new stove and cut the cord? They go back to the store that I got that I bought the stove. The guy said, you know what? I have an electrician can recommend. The electrician came in, the best thing since sliced bread. This man just come in, poop, 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 and everything worked perfectly. Now I have him on call, and this guy's just brilliant. The other day the machine stopped working. I'm like, yo, the machine now work. He went there, fixed it, boom, in no time. So you need a good electrician, a good cleaner. But like I said, there's so much technology. I have technology where I can monitor outside. I can also speak to people while they're checking in. I have auto-generated a pin that, send pin to people and all that stuff. So a lot of the system is just pretty much automated and seamless, except for when something comes up in the middle. But you're not going to know all of these things until you actually get into it, because prior to going into it, I have a friend who has a security company, and I was asking him a million questions. Bro, like, in the camera I can put outside, what do I do? What do I, you know what I mean? So, but one of the things I did, I'm really big on benchmarking. And benchmarking is a practice of like looking at other players and see what they did or what they're doing. And so what I did, I stayed at a couple Airbnb and I documented my experience, and I got some friends to stay there with me throughout a couple of different stuff, and they documented their experience. You see me? So you have to put some thinking and some work into it, you see me?
Yeah, benchmarking seems like a great idea. Shucks, because it's like what we said previously. In order for you to learn these things that you never knew, learn from someone else that's done it before.
Exactly.
Because, listen, we're not gonna know everything. Like, I don't know plumbing or electrician.
I don't. Yep.
But if you tell me something that I should know, I'm gonna write it down and make sure I know, like, for the future. And then I'd also have someone there that's able to hopefully not jip me and be able to teach me something. And like, I keep learning, and I'm like, okay, I know next time I gotta ask about these questions before anything, right? So I like benchmarking and just learning from others.
It is. No, it's important. Like, I spend in all of my investment business, I spend a lot of time environmental scanning. I love environmental scanning so much. And environmental scanning is that's, benchmarking is like a part of that, is like looking in the environment directly or indirectly. Businesses directly competing or indirectly competing or have no affiliation, seeing what they do really well that you can incorporate in your experience. And the other thing for me in everything that I do is that I'm really big on experience.
Yes.
When somebody walk away from where they stay, somewhere I rent, or if they interact with my business directly, if they have something bad to say, it's almost like it breaks my heart. And I want to know what I can learn from that to make it better the next time. So that's big for me. And, your ability to deal with people so it's not just, which is why I said, investing, if you really want to grow in the investment space a certain way, there is a lot to it. It's not just buying and selling. Relationship is very important, because I've been able to forge relationship with people in the bank. Like, I can message my banker and I can be like, oh, what's going on with this? And she'll be like, oh, I'll send it now. I can message my real estate agent. I have a lawyer. I have several lawyers, real estate agent. There's a whole team that I try to establish a really good relationship with, that will have that is very key, really important.
It's like, relationships is like the same thing as like networking, but instead of like client networking, you're actually forming a positive, healthy relationship with this person. So it's like kind of like a give and take, and not just take
Exactly.
Exactly. Because you don't want people to think that you're always just take it from them. You're just like, dang.
Yeah.
Because then soon time they'll be like, oh gosh, Dre's calling me again. I
Right?
wonder what you want.
I want people to,
Right?
that's really important for real.
Yeah,
I want people to be excited when you call. I'm like,
exactly.
yo, Andre's calling, oh my God. Or, you know, I mean, you have to know that reaction, but you know,
But
you get the
I think for like this year, it's going to be really important to like the things that we've talked about already is try to, how are we able to build that and keep it growing and healthy. And I think that's just like one thing I want to do. First step I'm going to do is organize myself. I decided I'm taking the week off and just organizing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, in order for us to become millionaires, we have to like declutter, write our goals. You know, remember when we talked about SMART last year? Also just know our plans and goals and just push through, and then also like write it down. Even though I have a lot of books or planners, I'm gonna use some of them. I got
100%.
called out the other day.
Oh, that's when about the color planners and not buying too much of that. You know, like I'm not really, you know, a lot of my planning is not always a good. So here's me. This is me. And everybody has their own method to their madness.
True.
I don't like to get caught up in the planning phase too long. And I feel like that's sometimes good and bad. Like I feel like I sometimes move from the planning stage too quickly to go into like actioning and execution, implementing, etc.
It's all about
But
that.
what I really like, I stopped using the word planning. And I'll tell you why in a second. So here's another thing about me that this was never me. I love to take notes. You know, like my friend asked me the other day, he's like, oh, did you still take notes on what? I'm like, oh, look through my phone. I have like a zillion notes. Every single thing that comes to me, I write it down. It doesn't matter how stupid it seems in the moment, I write it down. So I love doing that. But here's why I say I stopped using planning, because planning is like you've identified something and then you're gonna get it done. You're moving toward it. So okay, I'm planning to go to the park. Boom, you go to the park. I mean, other people will have their own perception. I mean, I'm just being nitpicky on the word. People might say the word ideation is the same as planning, but for me, I love to ideate first.
Okay.
So I want to go to the park. That's my statement. What can I do when I go to the park? What's the weather like? You know, do I go to the park today or do I go somewhere else? Right? Can I have a park experience while at home? Do I need to go to the park? How many people go into the park? What other people like me? Right? So when I feel like when you ideate, you explore.
Yes.
You explore more. And so I love the whole concept of ideation. And that's exploring. Right?
That's a new word. That's a new word.
It's a design word, you know, like I've worked in design, so it's like they have all of these words that I really find them fascinating. They're a lot of times they're similar to like other stuff, but broader to some extent. And so for me, I love to ideate, right? And so when I ideate, I like stuff like testing, and you know, my team will tell you like I'm really big on that, like mapping, experience mapping. So okay, you go to somebody that's doing something really well. You want to know how to do it, why to do it that way, right? And it's not like you're just gonna run with it and be like, oh, I'm gonna do the same thing. You have to ask yourself a really important question. Can I do it better? You know what I mean? You can't just run with the same thing.
True, because then it doesn't make sense. Then they'd be like, well, they're doing that. Right? Why do I come to you?
Yeah, it's just like, so the mindset, just like you said, really important. And so, yeah, if you really want to become good at investing, I'm not the best investor of all time. I'm nowhere close, but I realize that investing is more than buying and selling. You know, if your strategy is purely short term, you find yourself, you probably get caught up in that buying and selling. But if you have a balance, just like you do, you know, you mentioned that you have a couple long term that are doing really well. Those were calculated and you assess those, right? And you know what to assess to make good decisions. So I think you know, as an investor starting out, you really want to learn how to make good decisions before jumping into buying and selling. Because if you don't have that fundamental, you're gonna just be able to, you're gonna sound like a consumer and a vendor, just buy and sell.
And I feel like it goes with real estate as well, right? You have to research the area that you want. Like me, I'm not gonna go buy something downtown Toronto because that's absurd.
You can't afford it.
Right? So I would do research or like ask like real estate friends and stuff, and or just look at their content and look at things that are like outside the GTA. Because
100%. I mean, it makes a lot more sense, right?
Right. And even if that's investment property, oh, I'll make it work. And I'm definitely looking into that. I'm gonna say the next like I want to say like less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I know how valuable real estate is, and I want to become a millionaire just now, you know. But if when I become a millionaire, best believe I'm still be humble.
That's key. It doesn't matter how much money you have. That's key.
And I don't want no one asking me for money. I'm joking. Actually, no, I'm not joking. But I will help you lead to the promised land when I get there, because I know the path.
In teaching a person how to fish, right? You share that path with people.
Exactly. Like there's no sense of me, oh, boom. No, you have to learn too, because guess what? There's gonna be a day I'm not gonna be here all the time.
Exactly. So, you have to be able to do it yourself.
Right? So yeah, just I'm a teach y'all how to fish. Okay.
But here's another important part about timing that you mentioned with real estate is like, again, going back to the demand for residential. But here's the other important thing that comes with work from home that you have to assess in your timing decision is that people who normally had to commute from like 2 hours or whatever the case is no longer have to do that. So what does that mean for that person looking to buy a home? It means that they can buy a place further out, which means that the prices of property further out will start to rise. So what does that mean? Is that either you get it now or as soon as possible out of the GTA. Or here's the other thing, land. So buy land in certain strategic locations, because in addition to more people going out and the demand going up, planned immigration level is expected to go up significantly. So you want to get into those spaces really early. And so that's where the whole timing thing comes in. So timing is assessing market factors, economic factors, but more so holding for a long-term position to benefit from that compounding. So again, one of my secret formula when a lot of people come to me about even trading or cryptocurrency or whatever, I ask, how many people do you know personally that's made $1 million from cryptocurrency? I have not to this date met somebody who's met such a person. And then I asked, well, this is more like a statement. I said, extrapolate that times the amount of people who said no to you and see everybody that they know as well probably hasn't. I keep going out and casting that wide net, because the reality is this, like a lot of people who are making, there are 1 or 2 people, you make some short-term gains, like 1,000 here or 2,000 here or 5,000, 7,000, then you make up some loss or whatever. But here's the reality for crypto, and I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying, if you're actively trading and you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna make loss. You have to know exactly what you're doing, because that investment principles foundation still needs to be there. And it's because it's not there and people chasing money, they're losing out. The people who are making money from crypto are the ones who understand investing and understand the market. That is really key. It doesn't matter if you're trading short term or long term. You know what I mean?
So if you don't know about it, educate yourself first.
You have to. But people just want to get up and start making money.
I'm not gonna lie, I do want an NFT. I do want to research more to get into the metaverse. That's like one of the things I was like, I want to educate myself, because if it blows up like they say it is, I'd get cheese if I missed out, you know. So
I
I
don't
just
know.
wanna learn enough to just like get land, like we were just talking, and see how to get some passive income with that. But don't be tax man will come after y'all.
Oh, the tax man come. That's why that structuring becomes so important. How you're gonna structure that money
Yes.
to pay your fair share but minimize your burden, right? Because of course, the more you make, theoretically, the more you're gonna start paying. But here's the other thing, Kamille, that is a part of my strategy, because like I said, I'm nowhere where I want to go. So yes, I want to take risk, but I don't want to take excessive risk to capital, because I need capital to get to that point. So what does that mean for me as an investor is that I'm not going to take 5,000 or 10,000 and dash it into something really risky that I don't know what the future
That's
sticks.
not
Or no idea.
investing.
Right. That's risking my capital for no reason. And a lot of people, what they don't realize is like, they'll say, okay, they'll hear, okay, Elon Musk or whomever dash a 5 million or 10 million. Well, that's chump change for Elon Musk. That's nothing. He can dash $1 billion and it's nothing because he's worth over 100 billion. So you have to
Right.
understand the what's the word I'm looking for? You have to understand what that means for you, right? Not because somebody who's a multi-billionaire dashing in millions mean that you should dash money too.
Stay
You
in
have
your
to
lane.
understand, you have to ask yourself the question, if I dash 10,000, and for those who don't understand, dash, if I throw 10,000 into the market, what percentage of my asset base am I putting in? Is that 10%? Is that 50%? Is that 80%? Now ask yourself the question, Elon Musk put 1 billion in the market. What percentage is that? That's less than a percent, or probably five, maybe let's say 5% if you want to say whatever. It's not even that much. So you have to look at that you have to look at what it means for you to make sense if you truly want to build wealth, because otherwise you're going to be throwing away your money, right? By making risky decisions.
Yeah. So definitely this week or this weekend, the weekend I'm going to be preparing and just seeing how, what I did last year,
Yeah,
and see how it worked, and also control my emotions and that greedy side.
100%.
This greedy Cam is really greedy, you know. Sometimes I talk to myself the whole day. I'm like, yo, fam, you cannot be this greedy. It's like, no, come on, let's do it. More.
Right.
So control, yeah. Use leverage wisely. Have a money mindset onto having these different types of income. What's that word? You got to tell me the word again. Other word of planning.
Oh, ideation or ideate.
Ideate. I like that word. I'm about to Google it right now. Ideate what you want in your life and also manifest. If we kind of see
Manifest.
that
There you
too,
go. There you
right?
go.
Those are a couple things, and keep listening to us.
Exactly.
Keep following Flip and Floss and Fitness IQ, and that's the way you're gonna be able to learn more.
100%.
And I think your website's coming out. Like no, your website is out, but it's transitioning into
Yeah, it's going through a transition. Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah, actually the developer just sent me like a massive list, because I told her to go through and do an audit, because again, I'm really big on certain things. Like for example, the previous developer that I was using, I saw like he had where that where you had to verify that you're a human. He had a multiplication as the option. I said, bro, that's not inclusive. What if somebody goes to my website and they can't do math? So you're telling me they can't contact us? So like for me, I'm really big on inclusive design in technology.
Yes.
I'm really big on humane technology as well. So, and I
Yeah.
said that to my new developer. I said, look through. Nothing on the platform should be exclusive, right? And again, I'm good on not good, but I'm big on testing. So I said, test, make sure things work that they're intended.
Yeah.
So she went through, she did an audit, and she came up with a big list of recommendations, which we're going to be implementing. And super excited as well. Like, I've met with like our new design and technology team, and
Nice.
working to launch our first animated LMS. So that's in the work right now. So super excited about that. So there's a ton of work that's going in.
And you know why I'm laughing? Because
Yeah.
it's the best person to ask for an audit is a woman.
Right. Oh my God. I'll tell you. And then guess what? I don't even, it's not only one of them, it's two of them this time. Oh, Lee, there you go. It is two of them on the audit
Especially
of
a
the
woman. They'd be
website. So
like,
make it even better.
oh, this.
Yep. And you know what I learned? You know, so one of the things I learned about myself last year is that
Yeah.
I like to well, I noticed about myself before last year, but in terms of the business is that I wanted my ego to be fed. So I would ask people, oh, go to my website and tell me what you like. And I'm like, that is not doing anything for the growth of my business. So now I said, go to my website and tell me what you don't like. And don't be easy at me. Tell me as it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because
True.
if you
We always
are,
want our ego to be
right? Yeah, massage it a little bit, make me feel good. But tell me what you don't like, you know what I mean? Because that's what truly needs to be fixed.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because you need that critical analysis, but in a nice way, because you don't want to be an asshole
I know.
and stuff. So, Dan, that's a good one. Oh, you have to give me their contact after, because I know my
100%.
website needs some work.
They're amazing. I'll tell you this.
Nice.
Personable, professional. They're very creative. It's both of them like to work together, hence the two of them working.
Yeah.
The two ladies. But it's not like I don't want to refer them, but you know, like one of them to do my work first. But yeah, like I'll get them over to you. I'll get them over to you. Don't worry about it. Because we don't want people to come amazing people, you know. I'm not saying that you would, but you know.
No,
But yeah, like
no.
you know, educating people on financial literacy, it means a lot to me. Like I take it very seriously. I take it personally, because I realize like that, you know, I personally, like I always like to say, I wasn't broke. I was just lacking the knowledge because I had some type of income coming in. And I think that is true for a lot of people, is that they don't know how or what to do with the money, or perhaps they're stuck in a certain situation and just looking for that escape, right? And so that means a lot to me, especially for younger people. Make it intelligible. That's one of my other favorite word. Making intelligible financial decisions from early. You know, I have a friend of mine. He's 20, young 20s, I think 23 or whatever, and I said, if you can buy a property now, right? If you can afford to, because
23?
right, best time. You know what I wish because I got my first good job working at Kamille. I think I was at 22 or 23 when I got my full-time job, making 48,000 at the time, and I was like, whoa, run go buy my brand new 2014 Honda Civic, and you know, roll out and everything turn up, and
shucks.
and I know what I know now, I would have saved up to buy a property.
Crazy,
but I mean,
especially
you learn.
that time. Especially that time, like
right, especially that time. I'd probably have like so much now, but I mean, it's never too late.
It's never too late. Like I was just mentioning, I seen a meme that be the investor that you wish your parents was.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And I fully said like, yo, my mom was able to learn in her 60s.
Yeah.
Imagine if she was able to learn in her 30s, which I'm in, and friends are in. It's no brainer, right? And then also, I need to get land. My dad was talking about the land. I have to go talk to him about that after, you know, because I'm really serious. Like I want to be like you. You have 7 streams. So, you know, I wanna achieve the 7 streams. So I gotta manifest and think of things and just push through. You know, even though last year was a rough year, I'm I gotta buckle down and get ish done. Because money always makes me happy. And food.
Oh
And
yeah, that's
sorrow. So
well,
everyone's
money and coffee for me and my family. But
exactly.
you know,
And my
think
family
of it
too.
as the foundation. Like foundation is really important to the structure
Mm-hmm.
of anything. Your house, your life, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yes.
I wouldn't necessarily look at having started. I would look at it as foundation because you and I talk and I see both of us building that solid foundation. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
at the penthouse yet, right? I'm still at the foundation level as much as, whatever. I've just gotten very aggressive with my investment strategy. And,
Yeah.
a lot of that is more personal for me than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still at the foundation. Foundation is really critical, and diversity is really important, but you don't want to over diversify. So keep that in mind. I see some people with their portfolio, and like I won't call no name, but we have investment group where people literally chase the bag. And if you actually look at their investment portfolio, they have like 50 different stocks with money dash all over the place. You don't want to over diversify. At the end of the day, you know, um, you want to make decisions that make sense because I like to look at total gain.
Mm.
And I also like to look at the growth rate, right? When you actually make strategic acquisitions, right?
Yep.
Where you can see your wealth appreciate in 1 year by 400,000,
Yeah.
right? So those are decisions that you actually want to make, that actually make sense, right? And not necessarily like spreading your money too thin. So
But I also
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, diversify, yes, but also even if you've over diversified, you still have a chance to revamp it. Because
Yeah.
there's always going to be a time when you're like, this is really stagnant. But you have to put in the work to actually look at it and
Mhm.
see, like, okay, this one's shit. This one's shit. Let's
Yeah.
get rid of it. Even though, like, low key, like, I know there's stocks that I have that are like shitty right now, but I'm like, nah, I want you to go back a little bit just so
Yeah.
I can get rid of you and then be able to put it in like more healthier stocks. So
Mm.
that's where I am. And that's another thing I want to focus on this week coming. I know I should have done it year end type of thing, but you know what? I'm gonna take the first week to figure things out and just, work through that because you kind of need to look over your portfolio, if not quarterly or twice a year, at least once a year. Look over it and see, okay, I'm just going to bite the bullet, get rid of you. I have something that's more healthier. Let's go. But at the same time, the market's really right now because of the new variant and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of people are just making some terrible investment decisions, and I think it's like affecting
I've
the
done it
the,
too.
the true value of the stocks. Like even today, I was going through one of the investor group, and I don't remember what I saw, like something about a company starting like to produce some type of new battery, and a lot of people were coming telling, "Yo, this is a perfect opportunity to buy." And I'm like, why? Only because I'm making a new battery? That doesn't mean that the company is a good company. It does not make sense,
Yeah.
right? Anyways, people out there, it's their money, and they are able to make whatever decisions that they want. But
Mhm.
as Michael Leachin and a lot of other investors said, if something is working, then why change it? And
Yeah.
for me, I have found a path that is not only working, but I'm seeing it grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And
Mm-hmm.
until that path I plateau,
Yeah.
that's when I'm gonna start exploring,
Yeah.
like something a new method totally. Not saying I'm gonna stick to the same type of investments, but my approach, right, is what I'm talking about. That framework that I've created, it is
Yeah.
working. And until that framework is done and now work
Then you go
again,
on to our
that's
next.
when we try something else, or we
Yeah.
get somebody else who way smarter than me to continue to like manage it and whatever.
True.
Right? It's yeah, it's fun. I enjoy talking about investment and business, just like Kamille, really enjoy these things. And that's
Maybe we can
actually,
do
super
ours.
exciting. side note, I'm working. So last year I worked with a ton of entrepreneurs. This year is no different. First cohort of entrepreneurs. I think I'm probably between now, like January and June, I'm probably going to be working with about 50 startup entrepreneurs. Yep, training and whatnot. Super exciting. And I love that. So looking forward to that.
See, like-minded folks working together,
100%.
and just getting more ideas, and you taking more notes.
Yep.
And I
learn from them just like what they learn from me. That's the, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And I love supporting their business too. I actually have some rum cake downstairs that I bought from one of them, and best rum cake that I've had in a while.
Whoa, watch out, because I know you were getting rum cake from other folks.
Right?
So you got to be careful what you say.
Oh, I know. Somebody probably soon come from about the statement there, but I mean, I give credit where it's due,
True. Yeah, I mean,
I like everything about it.
The rum cake's
taste,
good.
the packaging, everything. She went above and beyond, and she provided exceptional service. So I had to connect with her and tell her about the whole thing.
Would big up them. Hold on, let me give them a horn and all that good stuff. But I'm happy to see you back on the stage and all that good stuff. I had to like come true last minute. But yeah, guys, just is a pleasure. A happy new year. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. And I haven't done the giveaway just yet. I'll talk about that next week and all that's good stuff. But everyone gets a prize. Well, everyone gets a bag. That's what I'm saying. Everyone that's subscribed onto YouTube and they're on Instagram gets a bag. But I'll figure out those deliveries and all that good stuff in soon time.
Nice. Myself, we can get my bag.
Anything you want to tell the folks before we wrap up? Yeah,
I mean, definitely, like I said, focus on the investment principle and the framework. Come up with a planner and execute them. My formula, very simple. Idea times execution equal outcome, right? And don't get too caught up in that that overthinking phase or that planning phase, or just go for it. Go for it. And remember that example that I used with Simba. That's all I'm gonna. That's all, folks.
And on that note,
Daffy Duck voice. Daffy Duck, no. The way pig name, Porky Pig.
Yeah. And on that note, folks, let's shoot. The outro is always the same, representing Andre, Flippin' Floss.
Anyway, fame music. Flux on the literacy box. Flux on the literacy box. Flux on the literacy box. Anyway, flux on the literacy box. Witnessing all the because you're working in the
It's true.